Effects of Divorce on Children by Emily, Audrey, Kaylee, and Ellie.
What age are children typically when their parents separate?
Divorce can occur while the children are at any age, but depending on the age of the child, they have different reactions to the divorce. If the child is quite young, they often don't have a reaction because they typically don't understand the situation. Where if the child is a little bit older, 4 to 8, they have some understanding, but they would be extremely upset since what they aren't understanding is the cause of their parents' separation. When children or teenagers are more mature, 9 and up, they fully understand the situation and are more aware of the circumstance, so more often than not they are upset, but realize it's the best since they can better judge the situation. How divorce affects children's education.
You are more likely to succeed in school if your parents had a high level of education themselves. Often when parents are divorced, they don't have as high expectations for their children to excel at school, especially when they didn't excel themselves. They don't want their children to feel the pressure they've felt. When their parents' expectations are lowered, children often have the mentality that they won't or don't need to succeed. But in the cases that parents do have high educational backgrounds, they help their children and push them to do better in and outside of school. How does divorce affect the community?
Divorce can affect the overall average of the community because it can increase crime, smoking, abuse of alcohol, and illegal drug use. Children of divorce are also most likely to be suspended and drop out of school, which affects the education in the community. This can lower standards for job applications as well. Divorce can also ruin belief in the family as a unit. This can affect the strength of the community because people don't trust or support one another. That causes everyone in the community to become self-reliant, and therefore the community crumbles. Do most children blame themselves for their parents' divorce?
Some people don't blame themselves, but often children do. The children that don't blame themselves have the mentality that they could have prevented the separation. Children are often put in the middle of arguments, or they are the reason for the argument, so the children get the impression that they were at fault. When the parents fail to take responsibility for their actions, they typically blame their children. This can result in the child feeling abnormal amounts of pressure. Oftentimes, the child grows up too fast because they take on bigger responsibilities. Advantages and disadvantages of how divorce affects children.
Disadvantages. These children are more likely to have difficulties such as depression, low school performance, and social problems. Divorce isn't just a short-term crisis, it's a long-term threat to their academic performance, their ability to commit to relationships, and their mental health. The relationship between the children and their parents, particularly between the children and their father, is likely to be worse than families that remain intact. Advantages. Families that have abusive parent, the parent separation results in a safer environment to the child. Some children could see good in the situation when their parents act in a civil manner. The children are able to see their parents much happier because they aren't surrounded by a large amount of negativity by their partner.